What's good, y'all? We're going to get started in just a minute. What's up, y'all? We are going live. Well, technically live. Clearly, we are live right now. We are getting ready to go out there. Just a second. I got to tweak a few things on the live stream from my side, and then we'll be ready to talk all about this butt whooping of a game. Hold on, y'all. Gotta figure out. This. So I'm trying to get the live stream up and running. I only stream directly now on YouTube. I'm not very tech savvy. I use StreamYard. So I have to get the thumbnail in place, get everything tweeted out on X. All right, looks like it's working. I also can't hear the music, but that's all right. I'll turn the music off in a second. I realize it's going in the background. Oh boy, we got Damian Lewis on X right now tweeting out, "Trust the process." Okay, hold on, let me turn the music off. What in the world kind of process are we trusting here? Trust the process. Folks, the process has happened. What are we processing? Because if this is the process, I don't know what we're making. I don't know what the ingredients are to this process. It ain't it. What are we doing? Oh my gosh, folks. Cannot make this stuff up. Folks, what a freaking disaster of a football game, of a football team. We are a freaking joke. Ooh, Marcos, you know it. Complete joke in Carolina right now. Not in Carolina, in the entire NFL. I did record just a minute ago, and I fully agree with Marcos, who says at this point, trade everybody who has trade value. Yes, that is the case. I've been a big fan of, hey, let's keep guys around. Let's keep a Deontay Johnson. Let's keep a Chuba Hubbard. Let's keep an Adam Thielen. I don't know that I could say let's keep a Miles Sanders no matter how good things are going. But we are at that point. Anyone and everyone has to become available. I understand it sounds like Chuba Hubbard, at least it's reported that he's safe. We know Miles Sanders is going to be available. I think you have to now go to the drawing board and make some guys available. The question I have, if we go down this route, is what is the compensation that you are going to get in return for these guys? So you have to think about, is the compensation going to be better? Let's hide that. There we go. Is the compensation going to be better off with a conditional pick or compensatory pick if these guys walk in the offseason versus trading them away right now? And to be honest, I don't even know that I would be excited about us making a trade, only because I do not have faith in us, in our front office right now, that we could hit on one of these trades. I do not. We got absolutely destroyed. It was so bad today, folks. I mean, we had a promising drive to start the game. That's the theme. Start off one drive, look good, then let all things fall apart. And that all things fall apart was Andy Dalton. The first interception that was the pick six. It was so bad. Completely. I don't know. I mean, it was a play designed to Miles. It was some kind of screen to the back. He just overshot it. I don't know where he thought Miles was going to be. I don't know. The pressure was there. There was no gain to be had, even if he catches that ball. So that is where a veteran quarterback should dirt the ball. Throw it in the dirt, live for another down, take the 3 points. That's the difference in this team. Like, we keep making stupid mistakes. We are not built to play from behind on offense or defense. We've got to get up. We got to score points almost every drive, it seems, as you go back and look at the Commanders, who only did not score on one drive. And that's the theme of this entire team, is the defense. So you got to put up points, and you go from a situation where it is either 3-0, 3-0, 0-0. I mean, worst case scenario, if that thing's blocked and something weird happens, maybe. But more than likely, where they were kicking from, you're up 3-0, then you give Washington the ball. It was extremely, it was just pathetic, folks. On the flip side of that, so you come out of that interception, you punt, then you give Washington the ball on like the 10-yard line, and they drive down very close, and you hold them to a field goal. We actually get a stop in the red zone, 90 yards, whatever it was, stop in the red zone, and you felt like, oh, it's 10-0. Worst case scenario would have been what, 3-3? Or if we had missed 3-0, the game would have been competitive, but the game was out of reach at that point. Jayden Daniels gets hurt very early in the game. Was it just the one series or so that he was out there? What really pisses me off about this team, everything pisses me off about this team, but one of the things that really pisses me off, when you look at the situational awareness, and we don't have any. We have no situational awareness, whether it's on special teams. Speaking of special teams, I didn't talk about this in the podcast, but what the heck was that, like, fake punt crap down by whatever we were down? I don't even know. It was a blowout. What was that garbage? I know we ended up getting the delay of game. It didn't matter, but that was just so bad. But situational awareness, down 10-0 very early on in the game. Jayden Daniels out. Folks, they have access to the same broadcast that we do, so people up in the booth, speaking of the Carolina Panthers, can watch. They can understand exactly what's happening on the field. They could see, oh, Jayden Daniels is on the sideline. He's probably not going to come back in. At that moment, take a breath, take a breather, and say, all right, guys, we're only down 10-0. Jayden Daniels is going to be out. We know Marcus Mariota's coming in. He's going to be, well, I should say a little bit slower, but compared with the Panthers playing defense, he looks like he's Lamar Jackson back there. We are so pathetic on defense. It is so bad. But I think you have that settling moment, and you take the time and say, okay, folks, like, we got time to settle in. I don't know. We just don't have that. We do not have that at all. And everything comes back, compounds. You have Dave Canales, who wants to preach and preach and preach by the 10 commandments of his football law. that we like to run the ball, and that's what we're going to known for, and we're going to be stubborn about running the ball. The only thing stubborn is his play calling and just abandoning the run. I know Washington's defense was a little bit better, and shout out to Frankie Louvu. Shout out to Jeremy Chin. I didn't even look at the box score. I meant to look at his final stats. I skipped over when I did my breakdown. Frankie Louvu had 1 sack, 4 tackles. Jeremy Chin, 4 tackles. So there you go. Always putting in that work. But there's just no situational awareness, man. It's bad. And you have Dave Canales, like I said, who wants to talk about running the ball and then just get scared. Why? They even called it out on the broadcast, which I'm glad they did. Why are we throwing the ball? What are we like? We're not going to hit. We're not an air raid offense. We're not going to magically turn this thing on and start hitting 50, 60-yard bombs. That's not our playing style. We don't have the personnel to do that. So run the ball, play to your strengths, make the game shorter. We couldn't do it, man. It was a terrible day. And you have Andy Dalton's other pick later on. I can tell you this. I'm a fan of Dave Canales. Y'all know I'm a big fan of Dave Canales. He is losing me. And like I said, he doesn't care. I get it. Who cares? This one person and his little podcast doesn't care that he doesn't support me. But I'm losing a lot of faith in him. And I'm someone that's watching him every single Sunday, supporting this team. And I know a lot of y'all are too. But watching him and his decision-making around Bryce Young, the game was out of hand. It was nowhere close. Halftime, this game was over. It was done. It was over when we got down 20-0. You have Marcus Mariota carving us up. One, I hope Jayden Daniels is okay, but my gosh, we are blessed to not have to have him out there. They would have put up 50 plus with Jayden if they would have kept their foot on the pedal. I think they kind of let up a little bit too. Maybe Dan Quinn was trying to be a little bit nicer. I don't know. I wanted to beat him too, just from the Falcon days as well, like carryover from the Falcons and the Seattle days. You just want to beat like those two teams. Now he's in Washington, but we are very blessed that we did not see Jayden Daniels out there because it would have been even worse. Over-under was 51-ish, I think, at one of the lines I looked at. Like I said, Commanders almost carried that by themselves. But get back. Let's get back and focusing on the Carolina Panthers and Dave Canales. When you are down by that much, I don't know what more do you need to see out of Andy Dalton. And here it is, folks. Y'all know if you listen and you follow, when I talk about Bryce Young, I wanted him benched. When I saw Andy Dalton play well, I said, let's keep Andy. Let's ride him. I've talked about Andy Dalton possibly being a solution for next year. Now, I don't know so much if that's the case. Regardless, I've been very in favor of Andy, also in favor of Bryce Young sitting down. So all that together. When it is as bad as it is, and I don't care what you think about Bryce, whether you think he's short, whether you think he'll never be able to play, that none of this matters. You got to get him evaluated at least one more time in meaningful football and not in garbage time. And I don't know what Dave Canales is holding on to here. I don't understand. I don't know if it's his ego. And to me, it pissed me off that he would put Bryce Young out there. And I understand garbage time, but he could have done this at halftime and said, okay, Bryce, you know what? Andy's still the quarterback. He can even tell the locker room at halftime, hey, Andy's still our quarterback. We're going to go out. We're going to give Bryce some reps, give him some meaningful time. Hey, what did the heck? Almost lost a little bit there with some of my vocab. Keep it PG here. What in the heck are you playing for? You are not in Tampa Bay anymore, Dave Canales. So things aren't just going to magically get better. You're not in Seattle. You're in Carolina, the worst franchise in the NFL as of the last 7 years. You are here with a franchise that is known for losing now, that all they do is lose. We're not flipping a switch and making the playoffs with this defense. So tell me why you aren't going to at least evaluate Bryce one more time. I can tell you, Bryce could go out there. He can throw those interceptions. And maybe it's that bad that what you see in practice tells you he's gone. If that's the case, move on. For his sake, for Bryce Young's sake, trade him now. Because this bullcrap game that you're playing with this kid, and again, I'm hard on Bryce. I don't know if he's going to pan out, but I will tell you the game that's being played by the head coach of this football team is complete BS, man. And I'm not a fan of it. You're the head coach of the team. You don't really know what you're doing, it looks like. And you can't make a decision, a clear, distinct decision. Andy's our future. Andy's chunking up touchdowns. I mean, good God. Interceptions. Yeah, chunked up some touchdowns. I just don't understand why you don't take one more pass. And my point is, like, if you have made up your mind that you don't need another pass, then move him. It does nobody any benefit to have him just sitting here like this and for you to keep trotting him out there. I gave the analogy on the podcast when I recorded, and it's nowhere near the level of playing in the NFL. But I recall when I was in middle school, I was not good at basketball, but I made the team only because I was fast. And the coach put me in, I think it was like it was either second quarter or fourth quarter. It was either the end of the half or the end of the game. It doesn't matter. I guess it does, but it doesn't. Anyways, we were down by like 15. There was 4 or 5 seconds left, and he put me in to try to get a steal. When, like, what is a steal in that moment going to do? And I just remember being so pissed that he put me in and substituted me in for that last 5 seconds that were going to do nothing. I mean, it was a meaningless game. It wasn't like it was what you call senior night or whatever. Like, they don't even have that in middle school. But I was like, what is this? So I can only imagine what Bryce is feeling. And folks, the locker room itself is starting to boil up. And when we talk about the Panthers, we started the stream here talking about the Panthers being sellers at the trade deadline. I tweeted it out like earlier, like anyone and everyone, outside of a few pieces are going to be available in my mind. And I know the reports already said, again, Chuba Hubbard is safe. I would agree with that. We look at Miles Sanders, and I don't know who's going to take him, but I definitely think he's an option. It feels like Deontay Johnson, again, given the Brandon Ayuk situation and or a lot of other in Kansas City, like somebody is going to be calling. The phone's going to be buzzing for Dan Morgan, and he's got to make a decision. Are you going to get something comparable that you feel like, hey, yeah, this is good. This is a good trade-off. And then you got to be able to draft well. I mean, the biggest reason the Panthers are in the hole that they are in is because they do not and have not drafted well and retain talent. And when they do find talent, not through the draft, but when they find talent through the NFL, scouting current existing players, can't really keep those guys around. That's just the nature of how bad this team is. So I don't know, man. I'm going to jump back into the comments in a second to see what y'all think about all this madness. Panthers, let's see. Yeah, so their drive chart or drive summary: interception, punt, turnover on downs. Oh boy. I've gone on record saying I love the little trap play, whatever you want to call it, inside run that it's like a fullback dive trap, whatever you want to call it. It's Chuba Hubbard, and they've ran this thing like 3 or 4 times now in the same situation every game. Washington was prepared. They sniffed it out. They ate it up, and that was it. But the reason they sniffed it out and ate it up, and that was it, was Ian Thomas. Go back and watch the 4th down stop that happened. He just completely misses his block. The guy's crashing down. I get it's the NFL and these guys are fast and strong. You've got to be able to make that block. Guy coming across your face, Ian was just slow. He was slow getting off the block. He misses. Chuba Hubbard gets destroyed in the backfield. Ian Thomas was also on the previous play, the one who missed. We are an unserious football team. We are a joke. We are a laughing stock. You can say whatever else you want to say about it. And I don't blame fans for tuning out and never coming back, or at least coming back this year. It sucks, man. 1-6, folks. You cannot call a game winnable. We are back to where we were last year. And I said this when I recorded. We are in the same exact place as we were last year. And I don't think it could get that low. Coming out of this game, it felt like the Tennessee Titans game where we know Frank eventually got fired. Like that was it. It was done. It feels like that. There is no way in the world that Eviro survives this. And I'm a fan of his, but at some point you got to put up. And you are in the NFL. You are a head coach. You've got to have the basic fundamentals down, giving up 200 plus rushing yards, letting guys bulldoze your team over, making it look easy, inability to get any pressure. I understand injuries. I really do. But what is your resume as a head coach going to be? Or how are you going to go apply for a head coaching job and explain, yeah, well, if we ever get into an adverse situation and we lose XYZ players, I'm not going to be able to really, perform or put a good product on the field. You can't do that as a head coach. Head coach, you cannot have excuses. And the defensive side of the ball is just freaking terrible. I don't think people understand how bad it is. It is historically bad. We were talking about one of the worst defenses. It could be the worst defense in NFL history. And I am not exaggerating. That is not a hyperbole. They are on pace to give up the most points in NFL history, folks, and probably by 30 or 40 points. That is how bad this team is, averaging right now about 34.7 points per game that they're giving up. You're talking about almost giving up 600 points in a season. Not many people are going to be able to survive that. Not many people at all. So I think no matter what, whether it's tonight, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's next week, next month, next year, before the season, whenever, Evero's out. And I'm just saying it early. I wish him the best. I don't think it's as much as I want to say a lot of this is on him. Personally, it's probably good for him to get out of here because the bigger question is, how do you fix this thing? There's no really, what we have seen, there's only been one persistent, constant value that's been here, and it's the ownership. There's been one owner that's been here throughout the course of this train wreck. If I believed in conspiracy theories in the NFL, and I believed that I would seriously buy into the Teppers, just wanting to destroy the Panthers so that they can move them elsewhere. To be honest, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing. I don't know. You know what? I said this too live. I don't know how many people follow me on X. If you do, buckle up. Never bad stuff, but buckle up for the games, man, because they go all over. Try to tone it down, but then there's only so much. Folks, we were talking about the Bank of America Stadium, Panthers front office. If I'm them, I would be online searching up how to, buy out the tarps for advertisements, maybe like Oakland A's-esque or whatever. That's how bad this thing's going to get. Like, when you talk about capacity in that stadium, they should just close the top bowl. Treat this like a bowl game, like the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Bring everybody into the lowers. Open it up, and at that point, at least you'll have a packed house, maybe, in the bottom area of opposing fans. It's pathetic, man. But 34 points per game. If you look at the point differential between how many points we score, how many we allow, it's negative, I think, 133. I don't have it right in front of me. I don't feel like, look, it's around that ballpark. That is how many points, the differential in how many points we score, and how many we allow. I think it's like 237, 247. It's got to be, I think it was 203 coming in, so it's got to be close to 247. We scored 100, whatever. Folks, that is a difference of 19 points. We are losing on average by 19 points per game, almost 3 touchdowns. We are the absolute worst team, franchise in all the NFL. You maybe could make a case in all of American sports, at least professional sports. It is that bad. I don't know how you watch it. Like, I'm not saying you in general, me, you, everyone. Three games next, like we said, that I can't call winnable. Denver, New Orleans, who's reeling, and the Giants. Back half of the schedule, I don't think we sniff a win. It's not good. The bummer about all this, when you go back and think about preseason, off-season expectations, summer, we were like, 4 wins. I mean, so when I first was like, 4 wins would be a bonus. I kind of felt like, oh my gosh, do I really? I don't know, 4 wins is a bonus. Yay. Like, that's doing great. And I couldn't honestly take that seriously. And now I am hoping we get to 2 wins, which is the same number that we had last year. And it doesn't get better, man. We are so far away. Complete laughingstock. And every time you turn around on national media, when Bryce Young does sniff the field, it's always talking about the trade. And I'm just like, dude, I can't put up with this. They talk about the losing too, which every broadcast we get a new stat on how many losses or points. I mean, it just keeps they got it in the bag. Ugh. It's so bad, man. It is so bad here in Carolina. 26 first downs to 10 first downs. They were 5 of 10 on third down. We were 3 for 10. 421 yards to 180. 214 on the ground. We had 95, like I said. The lone bright spot in my mind for the Carolina Panthers, Jatavian Sanders. He led the way in yardage and receptions, and I was impressed by him today. It's like he's kind of making a turn there. 6 for 61, 10.2 average, 1 for 29. He tripped, too, on one of those runs, which is kind of a bummer. Felt like he could have got more yardage on that play. Ian Thomas, 2 receptions for 4 yards. Xavier Legette, 2 for 3. Deontay Johnson, 1 for 17. Coker, 1 for 10. Coker looked good on his one. 1 for -6 for Miles Sanders. That was like one of the screens later. Dalton, 11 for 16, 93, 2 sacks, 2 interceptions, 44 passer rating. Bryce Young was 2 for 2 for -4 yards. Still had a 79.2 passer rating. Chuba Hubbard did get 17 carries, 52 yards, the 1 touchdown on that late drive. And Miles had 3 for 34. I just cannot, watching our defense get to the pass or try to get to the quarterback off of pass rush that's just not there. And it doesn't matter what we do. We can bring a nickel, we can bring a corner, we can bring a safety, we can bring a linebacker, we can run a stunt. We can do whatever we want. We're not getting to the quarterback. Marcus Mariota was, he looked elusive back there. How in the world does Marcus Mariota, at whatever age he is, look like that back there? Just moving around like it was nothing, evading pressure. I said, I don't know how many people play or have played 7-on-7 football, and it has been years for me, 10, 11, 12, whatever it was, 13, 12, 14. It's been a long time, 14 years since I played, 15, 16. When I played 7-on-7 football, there was a clock. So when you pick the ball up off sometimes I snap it, but they had basically a clock, and I think had 5 or 6 seconds, maybe. So you never had pressure. I mean, it's 7-on-7. It's DBs versus receivers, backs. If you have a back in there in a formation, That's what it is. 7-on-7 has a clock of 5 or 6 seconds. I would have said if I told folks that the amount of time Marcus Mariota had to pass, like if we were playing on 7-on-7 and I said, wait, no, it's not a sack. He's still got time. People would have said, you're full of shit. They wouldn't have believed me. They would have said there is no way he's still back there running. We saw it with Caleb Williams. I mean, like I said, we are very blessed it was not Jayden Daniels that we had to see. But I got to give him what to do. Nice things. I don't know. No time in the near future. Robinson, 12 carries, 71 yards, 1 touchdown. Daniels had a 46-yard run. I mean, right off the bat when they get the ball. I had tweeted there too right before. I was like, yeah, we're probably going to have a few runs by Jayden Daniels that make us look silly. And sure enough, they did. McNichols had 42, Mariota 34, Eckler 17, 200. Oof. Passing, Mariota 18 to 23, 205, 2 touchdowns, 132.8 passer rating. They got the ball spread around quite a bit. McLaurin was the leader. Good game for Zach Ertz, Zacchaeus. They got a lot of folks involved, man. The interception by Fowler and Forbes. Of course, Fowler took his back to the house. I mean, bad times, man. Bad times in Carolina. And I don't know what the point is now in trying to rush back Jonathan Brooks. I really don't know. Or you got this 21-day window, and if he doesn't make his return, he would be out for the year. Why? I mean, I understand getting him in and maybe getting him some game action because you're going to want to build, but what the heck are we playing for? It is an utter joke. All right, let's get back in because I've been ignoring some of the comments, so we'll get caught up on the comments now. Shockwave 43. Fire sale is coming. Yes, it is. Oh my God. It is coming fast. Marco said, I didn't even watch the game today. Went to visit my wife's family. Oh, yeah. I will tell you the one nice thing is the game flew by. So that was a positive if you want to take that away with them running the ball the way that they did. Thing flew off. Ryan says, we need a trade tomorrow. Deontay is done. Chuba is done. You can see it on the players' faces. They don't care. They clock in, get a paycheck, clock out, and they're done. Yeah, in the post game, specifically for Deontay Johnson, you're hearing a lot of the players say, I can only control what I control. Speaking of getting the ball, not getting the ball. Deontay Johnson's been on really good behavior here. I know there was like reports coming out of Pittsburgh when he came over. He could be a problem. He's been fine. I think he also I think these guys deserve to go somewhere better. Like go out to a team that can win and can compete and bloom and let us eat crow and continue to be a sucky football team. That's pretty much how I view it. I will say Chuba Hubbard, though, I want him to stay. But, I mean, if we're really not going to get a thing for him, makes sense. So sad the coaches and players don't care. They still get a paycheck and don't care about it. They don't have to care, but fans get the bad end of the deal. It's a tough time, man. And I don't know that I will say they don't care. I do feel like they care. I just think some of the decision making, and it starts at the top, starts with Dave Canales, will really leave fans kind of scratching your heads. I mean, it's like it's really like you've been lied to this whole time. And would it matter if we run the ball 30 times versus 18 or 19 to Chuba? I don't know. But it would be nice for someone to come in who says they're going to do something a certain way, and they do it. And the fact that we've seen success running the ball, that we've seen success with Chuba Hubbard, when you know your defense cannot stop anything, you gotta play to your strengths. We'll call it your defense is a weakness, but your strength is keeping them off the field as much as possible. That's all you can do. So I agree. Marco said, tomorrow I'm putting my Panthers gear in the very back of the closet. Oh, man, that might be the way to go. We're going to have a fire sale of jerseys, clothing, get it all out and be completely done. Just get it off. Ryan said, I don't understand coaches lying all offseason. Andy has fallen off so much. I can't believe it. Thought a veteran player would have more than what he's done. And that's what is really frustrating to me. Andy has taken a slump. So if you go back and look, he's been okay. Not been great. But the flame that we saw against Las Vegas with 300-plus passing yards, and it felt like, hey, the Panthers, maybe Canales was right. It has. The flame has burnt. It's smoking. That's all that's left is the smoke from Andy Dalton. And so for me, yeah. And as far as like the lying, it's funny. I didn't even read this one yet, and we were talking about just a second ago that with the coaches and what they told us. So I will say this interesting view on the entire league today. There are a lot of blowouts. I don't know if that's normal. Yeah, that is something to call out. I mean, you think about the NFL being relatively competitive, or should be, at least that's what they tell us. I agree with that sentiment there. Not like college where you see blowouts, feels like all the time. Time to put Plummer in. Yeah. Oh, man. Marcos has seen enough of Bryce and enough of the rusted rifle. We went from the red rifle to the rusted rifle. There's no power left in the rocket. It is gone. Not gone. It never left. It's still there. Oh, man. Tough times. I'm fine with playing Bryce the rest of the way. Yeah, I mean, really, what is the point? It is, ugh. Ryan said the locker room is gone. The players are gone. So many players leaving at the end of the season. Apologize for the rants. Just frustrated. Hey, man, this is what this is for. To be frustrated. Get it out. Just let it loose, man. I do not blame you at all. I feel the exact same way. Season is done, which it sucks to be in this position, man. It sucks for fans to sit here again and have to go through all this. Marco said, I live in South Texas and Cowboy fans are crying for a running back. I've heard too. Opportunity for Miles or Chuba if the price is right, and maybe they'll feel a little bit better. Yeah. I think that's all things considered, probably could last year's team beat this year's team? I think that would be, I don't know who would want to see that, but it's always an option. I just don't see any more wins. Yeah. One win. We talked about the schedule. It is so bad right now, folks. If they did move, yes, we were talking about how bad the Panthers are. Like it feels like if there was ever a NFL conspiracy, I'm not saying there is one, this would be the perfect playbook that you would use to give reason to move the team, because they're just this absolutely pathetic. That's exactly what they are. Eviro knee scores. Oh man, it is tough times out here. And Rock, I was looking at Mark's name. Rock says they're killing me. I'm retiring the Panthers visor. I think I'll semi-retire mine unintentionally because I really don't know where I put it. Who knows where it is, but I don't blame you, man. Yeah, defensive scheme is really bad. I was talking earlier. You can keep making excuses, or we can keep making excuses, and the Panthers can, and they can do that all they want. But at some point, you just got to play. You got to be able to play. Like, this is the NFL. Adversity happens to every single team. Maybe this is more adversity than other teams have had, but the adversity is real. You've got to figure out a way. You do. And like, it's just the basic fundamentals. It feels like there's no effort. Feels like there's no heart. You watch this team just give up. I think J.C. Horn may be the only player. Maybe there's a few others, but J.C. Horn may be one of the only players that every play I feel like he's putting in like maximum effort. It's so bad, man. It is a freaking train wreck. Folks, if y'all are just now tuning in, we are kind of towards the end of the stream, but you can always go back and watch, and we'll also have a new podcast episode coming. I already recorded it, so just got to go edit, get that uploaded. So if you missed this, or if you want to watch the podcast or listen, we'll have all that coming out on there. Ryan said, how did Detroit get all those years that the yeah, right. Panthers are the new Detroit Lions. It is a freaking mess, man. Yep. At this point, you have to wonder who Tepper is going to fire. It's going to be somebody. Like, you can't have this much losing. Somebody is getting fired. I don't know. I got to find another. I said it at the beginning of the stream. I got to find something else to talk about sports, like just in general. We're going to divert into North Carolina football, not the University of North Carolina, state of North Carolina college football. Maybe we'll have some positive somewhere in there. How about Duke? Duke's the only team in the state right now that knows how to play football, unfortunately. So, oh man, tough times. But all right, y'all, that is going to do it for today. But I appreciate y'all tuning in as always, and y'all have a good one.